When I ask you who are the titans of the Soul community, most of you would say names like Vati Vidya for lore. Some of you might know Bjorn the Bear and his videos where he pits bosses up against each other. Maybe even channels like Dom of the Round Table or Ziostorm for the news and things you've missed videos. However, this video is about everyone's favorite blue waffle of a channel, OnlyWaifu. If you don't know by this point, Waifu is a wonderful channel that tends to show a veritable showcase of game mechanics on a technical level to point out glitches and cheats, and then they show you ways to counter these tactics. Also, to not leave anything out so you guys can't say I'm misrepresenting them, they also point out some of the worst hot takes of our beloved game, and sometimes in a very harsh way, and other times they fairly counter these points with their videos. In fact, through the use of their very intelligently worded arguments, they have managed to show me that some channels I used to use for gaming builds were not to be respected as well. And on top of all of that, they have highlighted way smaller channels to their own in the community to help them grow. So with all that being said, I can hear you ask, well, what's the problem? They seem to be a great positive channel for the community. To that, I say yes, you are correct. But what happens when a good channel gains too much power, seemingly in the ears of the creators of the game we all love so much? Over the course of the last month, OnlyWaifu has created a series of videos asking for the nerf of several Ashes of War in the game and pointing out what they considered overpowered weapons. Normally, these would just be opinions of a large YouTube channel. However, what happens when everything this person with their army of Elden Ring waifus mentions gets hit with a nerf wave from hell? Has OnlyWaifu gained too much cosmic power and needs to be nerfed? Or is it just a massive coincidence? Let's do a bit of a dive to see. Come on. So where should we start with this? I believe to begin, we should just go through some of OnlyWaifu's old video premises and compare with other sources online to see how many people agree with waifu, or if the first complaint could be attributed to them in the first place. So let's just start with their video titled The Most Broken Weapon in Shadows of the Erdtree - Elden Ring. Just want to say I love the thumbnail here, Fire Chad Sigma Sword, that's great. As we crack this video open, we hear OnlyWaifu mention that due to its unique nature that this particular sword hits with the power of a colossal weapon, but with the light swings of the Godslayer Greatsword, which due to its stagger potential caused the weapon's first two light swings to be considered a true combo. Personally, I never had a chance to experience this, but when watching the footage I can tell you that, that looks painful. Let's watch that again, in slow motion. Oh! Now we have had many instances of true combos in the game, from the Raptor Talon R2 to Sword Dance, and some of those have just recently had the nerfs come down on them. Now from what it seems, the first time I can find a complaint of this online is in Waifu's video, but others have complained since then. This got nerfed in patch 1.12.3. Now is this an example of Waifu being overpowered? No, they too missed the weapon's power after it got nerfed themselves. In fact, they didn't complain so much about the power of the weapon as bringing awareness to it in case others ran into this particular weapon. This weapon, of course, was the Fire Knight's Greatsword. And not only did Waifu bring up builds for this particular weapon, but they also taught you how to defend yourself against it in case you ran into it. This is what Waifu and his myriad of Elden women are best at. However, we do have both a good and bad example of things that have been nerfed due to the ultra ego form that Waifu has seemed to have achieved recently. It's time to look at two videos: The Most Broken Ash of War in Shadow of the Erdtree / Elden Ring, and the DLC weapon revives the worst glitch in Elden Ring history. No spoilers. The former talks about the Ash of War Swift Slash and how overpowered it is. This Ash of War allows the user to tilt their head down and dash at the opponent, and has the potential to hit several times. It can also be charged so that it can be powered up by Godfrey's lovely pendant here. They then go into how, because the Ash of War comes out too fast that it's not possible to dodge it, while in their own footage showing it being dodged. They also complain about its potential to stun on initial hit and also on the secondary vacuum slice effect. I know that the attack can be problematic from time to time, but not only can it be dodged as shown in their own footage, but also it can be countered with high enough hyper armor build. Before the time of the nerf, I was able to one-shot a friend who was using it just by using the Savage Lion Claw myself. Now that it has been nerfed, which was advocated for by Waifu, The attack no longer staggers twice, and even though the patch notes said it was only a PvP change, it does feel a bit weaker in PvE also. I am all for making PvP more fair, and evening up the weapons a bit. Like what was done with a later video, Nanya's torch was an overpowered mess, with its ability to spread whatever status effect was on the main hand weapon. This was the worst with using the Eclipse Hotel, a mostly unremarkable weapon that has the ability to add Death Blight to the weapon. Well, with Nanya's torch you were able to spread both Madness and Death Blight. However, could also spread Bleed, Frost, Poison. It didn't matter. Both of these also got nerfed in the patch after OnlyWaifu made videos on them. Is it because OnlyWaifu's unlimited power, or just chance encounter? Well, we have one more example. Up until now, it's been all fun and games and conjecture, but with this next one, I want you to put your opinion in the comment section down below and let me know what you think. Is OnlyWaifu overpowered, or is this all just one big coincidence? PvP is one thing that needs to be well balanced in the game, so the nerfs that were made for it are more for the best. But let me ask you this. What do we do when we're having trouble beating some of the harder bosses in the game? Well, we theorycraft and come up with some of the most powerful things known to man. No matter what the system, no matter what the game is, someone will mid-max up the best builds that will ever exist in that universe. This is where OnlyWaifu's power may have become too powerful, being the loudest advocate for the nerfing of a certain set of bottles. These things, in a sense, were bugged to high heaven, but were also the perfect out to, let's say, people who don't follow the age-old get good mentality, to actually having a chance at beating the DLC and advancing to that prestigious level of someone who still don't know the story of the game, but managed to, in Waifu's words, monkey bash their way to victory. The Ash of War, Rolling Sparks, had a small bug, and that would make it so that every one of its hitboxes would go off if aimed at one's feet, instead of just one, as you can see on screen. This could lead to massive damage on bosses, which would melt them into oblivion in a matter of seconds. This, however, led to some people exploiting the Ash of War in order to trivialize the DLC, and that is what possibly got it nerfed into oblivion. But let's not act like we haven't all seen countless videos of other one-shot runs on bosses in the game. You don't see them nerfing the Giant Crusher Hammer because it can one-tap most bosses with the right setup. And most of the videos I saw, the Rolling Sparks took at least 2 casting of the spell in order to take down bosses. So why was this a casualty of nerf? Could it be OnlyWaifu's influence showing through here? Or was it really a bug that needed to be fixed? You know what isn't a bug though? That subscribe button. So why don't you hit the button real quick? It helps both the channel and does me the favor of letting me know that you like these types of videos. However, back to what we were talking about. The Rolling Sparks Ash of War, it really wasn't hurting anyone because the Ash of War was way too easy to get out of the way of for it to be deadly in PvP. With its massive wind up, most people could notice it for what it was and simply avoid it. As it stands now, only one hitbox will be activated if you aim for the feet. This massive nerf made it so one of the greatest Ashes of War in the history of the game went from top tier to trash tier. Honestly, a better nerf would have been literally just to make it so each subsequent hit was a little bit weaker. In conclusion, is the army of waifus from Elden Ring overpowered? Depends on the site you go to, I guess. But is OnlyWaifu overpowered with a direct line to Miyazaki controlling everything that we were able to do in the game? Well, no. In fact, remember earlier when I mentioned the Fire Knight's Greatsword? Well, this beauty getting nerfed actually seems to have hurt waifu on some sort of spiritual level. Even with all of their power, one of their favorite DLC weapons felt the wrath of Miyazaki. With the patch 1.12.3, the only way we can see if OnlyWaifu has too much power is to look to the future, to see if Impenetrable Thorns gets nerf nuked like the perfume bottles did. If so, maybe, just maybe, they do have too much power. Well, while we were making the video about patch 1.12.3 and how OnlyWaifu has possibly influenced it, a new patch came out. And essentially everything that we were talking about in the previous parts of this video have come true. Not only was Impenetrable Thorns also nerfed, but we also have a myriad of other things that they talked about in between patches that were also nerfed. These include the chainsaw glitch, which they were a massive opponent against, and for good reason. That thing, good riddance, is now gone. Previously in this video, we mentioned Swift Slash, which also got nerfed even further. They'd also complained about the spread crossbow. Its ability to easily put people to sleep was a perfect combo with Tholier's hidden needle. Now the spread crossbow takes considerably more time in order to add status effects to people with it. Several other things also got nerfed and or patched. There was a lot of bugs that got fixed in the newest update, but I'm not going to mention that here right now. If you want to see the patch notes, I'll leave them in the description below. However, this does solidify that I do believe OnlyWaifu may just be way too overpowered in the Souls community. But sometimes, just sometimes, that's the kind of hero we need in this community. With that being said, if you want to see a dedicated video about the newest patches, leave a comment in the description below. Well, anyway, guys, I'd like to thank all the new members to the channel. Your contributions are already being used to try to increase the speed at which I put these videos out. These members are Elden Lord level, Noah. At the demigod level, we have King Baby Seal III, the Unkindled Tarnished, and Philip Guerrero. What did you guys think? Am I overreacting to OnlyWaifu having an opinion, or have they become a new god emperor of the lands between? Let me know down below, and we will see you again in the next one. Peace.